After using SafetyWing Nomad Insurance for over 5 years, I decided to call it quits. Well, kind of. You'll see what I mean in a second. Let's start with the problem I had with the Nomad Insurance plan. Then I'll share a cool new solution I found that'll be super helpful for long-term travelers, digital nomads, and expats. But let's go to the pool because it's hotter than heck here in Brazil. So SafetyWing Nomad Insurance treated me well and covered me over $15,000 worth of my medical expenses while traveling abroad. But as I'm getting to become an old man and am no longer traveling on the same shoestring budget, I realized that there are some drawbacks to Nomad Insurance. At least if you're like me and you plan on using it for your main health insurance plan. I always figured I'm a pretty healthy guy and I don't want to spend a buttload of money on travel insurance, and so as long as I have something to cover me from major accidents while I'm abroad, then I should be fine. But recently I started wondering, what if I get cancer tomorrow? Nomad Insurance doesn't cover that, and cancer treatment can wipe out your savings no matter where you're living in the world. I started looking for more comprehensive insurance for long-term travelers and expats, but everything I found was either crazy expensive or it had super high deductibles of like $5,000 to $10,000 or both. But then suddenly, as if SafetyWing read my mind, they came out with a brand new plan that was exactly what I was looking for. It was not only cheaper than other options that I had researched, but it also had zero deductible. I immediately signed up for the plan and I begged SafetyWing to sponsor a video so I could share it with you. Please note that I still personally pay for all of my own plans, and I have done so for years. I only promote companies that I believe in, and after SafetyWing covered me for 2 different surgeries while abroad, I'm happy to recommend them to other travelers. That said, this plan is cool, but it's not perfect, so make sure to stick to the end for all of my unfiltered thoughts about the plans, including the bad ones. All right, let's get in the pool. Okay, so first let's clear up the names, which I admit can be a little bit confusing. The first option is Nomad Insurance, which is the same old SafetyWing insurance that you've heard of before. I'll refer to this plan as normal Nomad Insurance just to avoid confusion. It's what I've been using for years, and it's the best bang for your buck travel insurance in my opinion. The second brand new option is called Nomad Health. This new SafetyWing plan is less of a normal travel insurance plan, and it's more of an international medical comprehensive coverage plan. The overall coverage limit is 6 times higher. There is zero deductible compared to the $250 deductible in the Nomad Insurance plan, but it does not have travel-related coverage like lost luggage and travel delays, something that you do get with the Nomad Insurance plan. Lastly, Nomad Insurance does cover big diseases like cancer, which isn't covered in the normal plan. I won't get into all the nitty-gritties of the differences between these 2 coverages, but in the description below, I'll link to both options so you can find out more detailed information. Before we get into some important things to know about this new plan, it's worth mentioning that it comes in 2 different tiers: standard and premium. Again, I don't want to make this video super long, so I'll link to the differences below. But I personally chose the cheaper standard option. I ran some back of the napkin calculations, and in my situation, I don't think I'd use enough of the benefits of the premium plan to make the higher price worth it. That said, I recommend running your own numbers to see what makes most sense for you. This will likely depend on the cost of healthcare in the country you're planning to travel or live in, as well as the benefits you think you'll use. So now for those important things to know. First, you actually need to apply to be approved. This is different than the normal Nomad Insurance, where pretty much anyone can join instantly. With Nomad Health, you need to fill out a form that includes your medical history and pre-existing conditions. Pre-existing conditions may or may not be covered, and they need to be reviewed and approved beforehand. Basically, you can be covered under the plan if you have a pre-existing condition, but before approving you, they need to rule out that you just don't have anything super serious in your history that would make you uninsurable, which I guess is fair. The good news is SafetyWing's application form is magnitudes easier and faster to fill out compared to some other application forms that I've had to fill out with other expat insurance companies. The second thing to know is that unlike normal Nomad Insurance, where you can just buy it for short periods, With Nomad Health, you have an annual plan that you pay for annually or quarterly. This covers you in 175 plus countries, including your home country. The exceptions to this rule are the US, Hong Kong, and Singapore, where you'd only be covered for 30 days per year. If you need more than that, you can purchase the add-on for the full 12 months. Then you'd be covered up to 6 months in the US or 12 months in Singapore and Hong Kong. Next is you can choose any doctor that you want to see. This is super important with any travel or health insurance plan that you buy because you want to be able to be treated with the best doctors wherever you are in the world. To get reimbursed, you have the option to set up direct payments for charges that are over $250. For anything under $250, you have to pay out of pocket, then get reimbursed within 7 to 15 business days. This is significantly faster than the normal Nomad Insurance, where it can take up to 45 business days to get reimbursed. Next, SafetyWing offers lightning fast live chat response times. They claim to be available in less than 1 minute, 24 hours a day, and also have 24/7 emergency phone support. This is huge because the last thing you want is to be sitting in the ER in Cambodia or something with a broken leg, trying to call your travel insurance company or contact them and you can't get a hold of them. For funsies, I decided to put SafetyWing's 1 minute live chat time to a surprise test. Let's see how they did. But now for the main downside. Even though this video is sponsored by SafetyWing, I only agreed to make it if I could share my real unfiltered opinion. And while I'm super excited to be using this insurance, especially with how much cheaper it is compared to the other options that I've seen, there is one slight red flag that to me feels like a vulnerability. And that is that coverage for outpatient expenses other than surgery is capped at just $500 in the US, Singapore, and Hong Kong. Everywhere else, it's $5,000. In this case, the definition for outpatient is services or treatments that do not require a hospital admission or hospital stay for more than 23 hours. In most countries, you'd have to have a major series of unfortunate events to spend more than $5,000 in outpatient services in 1 year. But in the US, it'd be pretty easy to surpass the $500 limit in just a single ER visit. For me personally, I'd feel a little bit better if this limit was raised a bit. But since I rarely spend more than a week or two in the US anyway, this really isn't a deal breaker for me. And when you consider all the other benefits, it's the best option that I could find for what I'm looking for. Now, I'm not allowed to give specific insurance advice, but I can tell you what I would do under different scenarios. If I had full health insurance coverage in my home country, then I would just use the less expensive normal Nomad insurance to cover me from accidents on the road and travel-related issues like lost luggage. If I got an unexpected serious illness, then I would just go home for treatment. Now, if I did not have full coverage in my home country, or the coverage in my home country was worse or more expensive than the SafetyWing Nomad Health plan, then I'd go with the Nomad Health plan. That way, I'd essentially have all my major health concerns covered in 175 plus countries. I'll link to both options below in case you want to check them out. When you're healthy, this kind of stuff is easy to procrastinate on because you just think, I'll be fine for another week, right? I've literally had this exact conversation with myself before. But in the end, we can't predict unexpected accidents and diseases. If you haven't figured out your health insurance coverage situation, this really should be up at the top of your to-do list. I'm all about living on the wild side, and I know there's plenty of travelers out there who think that travel insurance is unnecessary because medical care is so cheap in different countries. I used to think this way too. But take a second to look up cancer treatment costs all around the world, and that might change your mind. To learn more about what to look out for when comparing different travel insurance plans, make sure to check out this video next. I hope you found this helpful. Bye-bye.